This video is about how to pronounce ED endings. First of all, let's just clarify what we mean by ED endings. ED endings appear at the end of regular past tenses. For example, wanted, helped, and lived. Adjectives can also be spelled with ED endings, like tired, embarrassed, and relaxed. And they can also come at the end of past participles. For example, finished, housed, and decided. You may have noticed the subtle differences in the pronunciation of the ED endings of those words, but aren't sure why they occur. That's normal. This is an area of confusion for many students. ED endings can be pronounced three different ways: t, d, and id. For example, we use t at the end of the past tense of help. Helped, helped. D, meanwhile, is used in the pronunciation of the past tense of live. Lived, lived. And id is the pronunciation of the past tense of want. Wanted, wanted. So how to remember which ending to use? First of all, we need to remind ourselves about voiced and unvoiced sounds. We studied these in the consonants video. Voiced sounds engage the voice box to make sounds like b, b. Unvoiced sounds do not engage the voice box, and so we get sounds like p, p. These are the voiced consonant sounds, and these are the unvoiced consonant sounds. It's important to remember at this point that diphthongs are also voiced. So, if the past tense of a verb or an adjective or a participle ends with a voiced sound, the ed ending is pronounced d. For example, robbed, robbed. B is a voiced consonant, so we get robbed, robbed. Another example, learned, learned. N is a voiced consonant, so the pronunciation is learned, learned. And finally, enjoyed, enjoyed. The diphthong oi is voiced, so we use d to get enjoyed, enjoyed. If the past tense of a verb or an adjective or participle ends with an unvoiced sound, the ed ending is pronounced t. For example, helped, helped. Or kicked, kicked. P and k are unvoiced sounds, so they are followed by t. And if the final sound before the ed ending is t or d, the pronunciation of the ed ending is id. So for the past tense of the verb want, we get wanted, wanted. And for the past tense of decide, we get decided, decided. Test yourself now with these words. Pause the video and see if you can remember the rules. Then practice saying the words correctly. Let's check the answers. Visited, asked, showed. That's a diphthong sound. O, showed. Wasted, lived, included, relaxed, used, cared. That's another diphthong sound. Air, cared. Closed, needed, hoped. The correct pronunciation of ed endings is a small but important part of speaking English like a native speaker, and people will be impressed if you get it right. In the next video, we'll look at weak forms and strong forms.